All right. Today is a fairly simple day for English language arts. And here is your objective. I will be able to create a closing paragraph to my first-hand narrative. If you have not written your second paragraph on the slide where you had written your first paragraph, you will need to be able to do that today, and also do your closing paragraph as well to complete this assignment, because this is the last day that we will work on our first-hand narratives. So now that you've created characters, a setting, and a sequence of events, you're going to work on creating a final paragraph that brings closure to your first-hand accounts. Why do you think it is important to provide a sense of closure at the end of your story? And put your answer right here. So here is the closure for Julie, who was 10 and was a part of my story, where she was experiencing her first tornado, or first tornado at home. So this is how I will be closing my story. Everyone was smiling as we went back upstairs to our classroom, but when we looked out of the window, we stopped smiling. The tree that I saw shaking hard from the wind wasn't standing anymore. It was now lying on top of a row of cars. If the tree had fallen on our school and we were in the classroom during the tornado, we'd be smashed to bits. There were debris everywhere, too. There were pieces of cars, buildings, and glass, but I was worried about the people. Was anybody hurt? I asked Mr. Rex. He replied, I don't know yet. We found out later that, apart from the ruin caused by the tornado, everyone in the neighborhood escaped any serious injury. They found safe places to go, and I survived my first tornado. And that's it. And you can see that there are some temporal phrases here, found out later, things like that. I was worried. And we're going to be talking more about making sure that the verbs and everything is in a proper past tense. So, but we will get to that. When we first planned our narrative last week, we decided that we would make our narrator nervous about her first tornado. We also decided we would have her imagine what was happening outside and that the tornado was coming towards the school. In the closing of my first-hand account, I decided that she would encounter another problem. The damage she sees outside causes her to worry about other people's safety. Since the first two problems were resolved last week, I want to make sure I resolve this problem. Everyone in the neighborhood found safety and was unharmed by the tornado. In the closing, I also inserted the temporal word now to reinforce the idea that the story was coming to an end. And so as part of your first-hand narrative, it's not just that the severe weather is the problem. The feelings and the things that the characters are doing during that time also provide their own sense of problems. So, for instance, if your character, or narrator, I should say, if your narrator is at the grocery store, there might be more issues because where do you go in a grocery store during a earthquake or a tornado or something like that? Or if you're home but your friends are with you during this tornado warning or something like that, or tsunami, what's going to happen with their parents and their families, and how are you going to bring a closure to the rest of your day? So using those temporal words like, now that I've seen this happen, I know that my friends are going to be able to be safe and at home. Or after this, now this is happening. So those are all some temporal phrases that you can use as well. So most first-hand accounts are written in the simple past tense. Therefore, when you're editing your first-hand narratives, you should make sure that you have followed the rules for forming the simple past tense. And here are the rules. For most verbs, add ed to the end of the verb. For instance, looked. I'm not looking at the tornado. I looked at the tornado. Okay? For verbs that end in e, just add the d to the end of the verb. Like I escaped. It's not I was escaping. It was I escaped. Okay? For some verbs that end in a vowel and a consonant, you need to double the consonant before adding the ed, like stop, like we stop in front of the red light. You have to add that extra p and then the ed to make it a proper past tense or simple past tense. For verbs that end with a consonant and the letter y, you drop the y and add an I before the ed. Like replied, reply has a y, you drop the y, you add the I, and then the ed. Also, you could always use spell check as you're doing your assignment because those will fix your grammar as well. This year, you have also studied a number of irregular verbs that do not follow these rules. If you are uncertain about whether a verb is irregular, you should consult the verb's entry in a print or online dictionary. Also, in the event that you do need to use the future tense in a first-hand account, you could do so by adding the word will to the original verb, will be, in the next model text. So, after I'm going to after I had left the school, I will be more prepared for my next tornado or something like that. Adding the will before I will stop, I will jump, those action words, that you can use that in your first-hand account. So now for the rest of your assignment, just work to complete your first-hand narrative. Don't forget to include those temporal words, first, then, now, 3 months later, 3 days later. Those really help in us understanding as the reader what is happening and when it is happening. So that is it. That is your assignment for that. Oh no, I forgot my plant. Hold on, I'm going to pause and show you guys a little bit of more growth on the roots for the plant that we've been watching for STEAM. All right, welcome back. Right now I'm just trying to dry off some of the roots before I show you what kind of growth we're looking at. So we still have our nice long roots that are coming down. And when you look at up top of these ones, these were really short and now they've gotten a bit longer. We're gonna wait until these ones are about as long as this nice and long one before we end up transplanting it into a pot. So I think it's gonna take us until the last week of school to transplant it anywhere. So here you go. Here's that. So that is how our plant is progressing. And that is it for today. Please make sure that you check in with either Mr. Sawyer or Miss Eigel for your next assignments in either STEAM or PE. And let me know if you have any questions. I will talk to you guys later.